Hi, everybody. Welcome to another. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Who are you? What are you doing here? This house has been bought by John Kramer. I don't know what Jigsaw Inc. is. Get out of my house.
Oh, Christ.
I'm sorry. I mentioned just listen to me turn my floor into lawnmowers.
Oh, no.
No.
I'm John Kramer. How would you like to turn your house into all lawnmowers?
That's a series I'm glad I've only watched one movie from. No, you're not going to change my mind.
You were revving up. You were like, "Am I going to do this? Am I gonna stand for Saw?" And yeah,
I mean, like I do, but at the same time, like I think the first movie, the way it ends is so fucking good and perfect that like after it became a series, like it's like you ruined the sanctity here. Like that was so good. Like my jaw was on the floor for like 10 fucking minutes as that movie ended. Because I wasn't looking for that. And then like 2 rolls around, I'm like, there he is in full fucking display, and Donnie Wahlberg's just beating him half to death the whole time. And it just loses it doesn't lose its luster immediately, but when it gets past part 4, you're like, oh man, this should really just stop.
It sounds kind of like a certain movie about a certain guy who has a lot of pins in his head.
Also, Friday 4 should have been the last one.
Yes.
Tommy Jarvis fucking murders him with a machete.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then Nightmare, I think, probably should end after 3.
4 had its good ones.
Yeah.
And
I think they should have taken a break and done Freddy's Dead, because that would make Freddy's Dead much better than it is. So,
yeah. But I mean, if it hadn't kept going, we would have never gotten Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
True.
Which that movie is phenomenal.
And I don't think. Well, and I think Freddy vs. Jason would happen eventually, but honestly, I think every Friday sequel after Part 4 would have happened anyway, just because Freddy vs. Jason hadn't happened yet.
Yep.
Sure.
And all those movies are all those movies are them saying like, we can't make it yet, so here's this thing.
Well, and also that studio would have still made those movies. They just might not have had Jason in them. I'm pretty sure. Specifically, the one where it's the girl who was supposed to be Carrie. Like they would have made some version of that movie where it's like a psychic girl fighting a slasher. That's just an interesting concept.
Which is why I kind of love Part 7. I think Part 7 is actually pretty fucking fun. Part 6 is, I think, pretty fun too. But I can live without 5. I can live without Jason Takes Manhattan. Jason Goes to Hell is putrid. And then Jason X is just silly shit.
I don't remember how Jason Goes to Hell ends. I watched that whole film and I couldn't tell you what happened at the end of the film.
So a Jason worm parasite crawls into Aaron Gray's vagina. Then and she's also dead when it happens. And refused to film that scene, so they got a body double. And then Jason is born again, complete with all the wounds he sustained previously before he was killed. Comes out looking the exact same way.
All right.
And his hockey mask has all the damage it also sustained over the course of an entire series. So somehow, when going from Jason the Man to Jason the Worm to Jason the Man again, he just doesn't change. And then a very bad fist fight takes place in a backyard, where he, I think, like has a dramatic, quote unquote, action sequence with a man over a child's jungle gym. And then there's some shenanigans with a book and a dagger of the Evil Dead 2, and then big giant puppeteered hands come up from the ground and pull him into the soil.
Wow,
okay,
I don't
that part I
remember
remember.
any of that.
Wow. Well, speaking of travesties against filmmaking and our
before we roll into that, hi everybody, I'm Connor, and this is another After Dark edition of Fan Zone. I'm here with Arlen and Eric, and Hunter should be dropping by anytime soon. And there's some news. When, as opposed to they're not having been news of the past few months.
Or it's like, well, this is coming out sometime
eventually.
Bye, everybody. Yeah.
Right.
Man, I didn't know Die Another Day got bumped that many times.
Yeah.
Not Die Another Day. What the fuck is the new one called?
No Time to Die.
There we go.
I would love if it was Die Another Day. If they were just re-releasing Die Another Day. If they were just like, fuck it, nobody understood that movie. Yeah, nobody understood the movie where a Korean man turns white. That's right. Nobody understood that film.
How do we keep coming back to that movie every time? Every time James Bond comes up, that movie is the one that gets mentioned.
because the Korean man turns white in that movie, Eric.
Is that the one with
the Universal?
Or is that the one with Is that the one with the News Mogul?
The News Mogul is the one with 4. That's
that's Tomorrow Never Dies. That's more where James Bond looks at the camera and has the most forced delivery of the title of the movie in any of the series. Like someone's like, yeah, well, I'll see you tomorrow. And he's like, well, looks at the camera, tomorrow never dies. I'm like, fuck off.
Fucking kill me. That's the stupidest. Jesus Christ. Anyways, speaking of really stupid shit, it looks like Roku bought Quibi.
Kind of.
I mean,
yeah. They bought something.
Here's
what I'm seeing is the global distribution rights to Quibi's portfolio. So, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I heard. Oh, excuse me. I heard all the creators of all those things got to retain the licensing rights. I guess it's still theirs, and they don't lose that. And I think that's interesting because I haven't seen. Didn't that Amel's Code 8, the TV show, wasn't supposed to come onto fucking Quibi?
I think they signed a contract. Yeah, they signed a contract.
About that.
I don't think it ever actually came out on the platform, but the movie is out. And I think the movie was supposed to be basically a pilot into a series.
It never started.
It wasn't half bad.
So yeah.
Huh? Eric, what was that?
Oh, the movie wasn't half bad either. My
no,
wife
yeah.
Everything I saw, I was like, this looks really interesting, and it's kind of between Robbie and Steven, I was like, man, these guys are doing a pretty good job. And when I heard that they were going to Quibi, I was like, oh no, that's death. But yeah, I'm like, that's death. This very interesting little project. And then I heard and then when I heard Quibi was dead, I'm like, oh fuck. But this whole Roku thing is interesting because one, I hope I hope people who were in the process of getting a project off the ground with Quibi get to do something with it because I don't think Quibi did right by any of those people.
No. Certainly.
Well, I mean, they were also the victims of a worldwide pandemic hitting when they were launching, so that kind of ate into their bottom end, I guess, for lack of a better term. But
I don't know if I told the story on. I don't know if I told the story in the show, but I think the Corridor Crew people had some Quibi people on there for something, and they were talking about how they passed by the editing suite one day, and these poor jockeys were taking these shows that were filmed conventionally and flipping them into the cell phone format.
Oh no.
So it was all the same aspect ratio as Mutant Lip Superman from Justice League.
Oh no.
And then condensing those things down into 10-minute slices. I'm like, that is abominable. That's terrible.
That was going to be my one question is all right, so Roku has access to whatever stuff they have access to. Does that mean everything was shot as a full show and it was split up into 10-minute chunks or whatever?
From what I get, this was a lot of Quibi buying stuff and then editing down to be these micro, digestive things.
Yeah.
Which I think is just that's gross.
It's the stupidest idea.
It is a dumb idea. I can see in any other business this wouldn't be that bad of an idea because it's media and it's something that you look at critically and judge and you decide how you feel about it based off of your own personal taste. It does not work because what they were doing is they were buying a lot of stuff that studios already had sitting around, stuff that they weren't putting out or it wasn't going to be put out for a while, or it was going to be after X, Y, and Z things had already come out. They were buying it and, like Connor was saying, cutting it up and formatting it for Quibi. And I understand why Jeffrey Katzenberg comes to the decision to do that, because he used to run a lot of those companies, and he probably looked at it, their libraries of stuff where it's like, well, that's just sitting there, and it's not making anything. It's not making us money. It's just waiting there for us to do something with it. And I can see in his head being like, if I'm ever not here, I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna say, "Can I buy that off you? Can I get that from you?" So I kind of get it, but at the same time, when you're not like a rich douchebag who's never watched his own content, like, I don't know how that works when you're just like a regular person who actually watches things, hearing that idea.
Yeah, and like like my big thing when it was coming out is like, okay, your format is literally just YouTube. And content on YouTube is made.
It's YouTube Red. It's just YouTube Red.
Well, and like those programs are made with YouTube in mind. So like when someone drops a 10, 12-minute video, that's expected, and it's written and edited and designed to be consumed in 10 to 12 minutes. You take a 2.5-hour movie and you slice it into 10-minute bits to release it as an episodic thing, you have ruined that movie pace.
Yeah.
And that's what I heard that fucking Dane DeHaan thing was, that weird Stalker series.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The Stalker series?
There was I can't remember what the fuck it was called. It was like Dane DeHaan was stalking what's-her-face from It Follows.
So basically his real life. Okay, cool, got
it. Right, exactly.
But like the tease for it looked cringe. It looked real, like, I like Dane DeHaan, but like it was him, like a la Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he's like he's doofy and unconvincing. Yeah,
where he's goblin disease, right?
I hate you, son. Here's my life's work.
Is that what the show's about?
No.
Goblin disease. It's coming for you. Stop being weird, Dad.
So all in all, this basically sounds like the horrible stink of Quibi is just going to continue to follow it, because until they can put something out and not have people like, oh, this was supposed to be on Quibi, it's automatically going to be judged forever. Like, the fact that Christoph Waltz was in a Quibi show, what was it, The Most Dangerous Game, I think?
Yeah, with a Hemsworth.
Yeah, the lesser of the two, but still a Hemsworth.
The lesser of the three. How dare you?
Oh, who cares? They're all the same goddamn people. Yes, based on the book. Yeah. Which Christoph Waltz is great casting, but it's still just like, I don't care. This is
I think that was something else they bought too. I think it was a movie they bought. First of all, I didn't watch this shit because I'm not paying for Quibi. But like the idea of taking a movie like that,
well, nobody else was either.
Exactly.
I had Quibi for free. I had it. I could have watched something. I didn't.
Yeah, well, COVID depression.
I think something else I heard was like they launched, they couldn't get enough subscriptions. Then they just kept offering free subs to everybody, and nobody was taking them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's insane to me.
Yeah. By the time it was all said and done, if you were a T-Mobile customer, you could have gotten 9 months of Quibi for free. That's most of Quibi's existence.
Fuck, man.
You could watch everything in about a day.
Right, and it's like, when am I going to watch this?
Your Quibscription.
Right, exactly. I got this free subscription during like the height of the pandemic, where I did not have another job, and it was just me, and I was like, so I'm just gonna go to the couch and watch this on my phone when I could be watching something on the TV that's over there.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have 30 days of Amazon Prime for free, and even that, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to use this too much. Like, if someone came in Quibi for free, I'd be like, can you somehow take this back?
Yeah. Can I wipe this off my shoe, please?
Can I trade this for something that I like? Can I?
Can I have something else? I'll pay for something else if you just load the price
for a sandwich.
I just don't want this free thing you're giving me.
Would you like some AIDS? Yeah. So yeah, I guess we should.
Take it back and come back with cholera.
Yeah. So Quibi sucks, and Roku, you made a bad choice. Just like you did with HBO Max. Hey,
I mean,
wait, what are you trying to defend here?
I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not defending anything. It's just they're buying it for the Roku channel, and the Roku channel isn't like high quality stuff already. They didn't.
No.
They didn't add anything substantive. They basically just
You telling me that pile
right.
of trash isn't worth
They basically
anything?
poured another garbage truck full of garbage into the garbage that already existed. Like occasionally,
Oh, cool.
I'll be checking justwatch.com where I'm trying to find where something is streaming, and it'll say only available on the Roku channel. And me, someone who has bought 4 Rokus at this point in my life, is like, yeah, no thanks, I'm good. I'll find somewhere else. I'll rent it. I'll spend $20 on this rather than watching it free on the Roku channel.
I didn't realize
because it's
Roku
like,
had their own Roku channel. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of sad. I've
So,
scrolled through it. It's
yeah.
not.
I mean,
worth
I'm
it.
also using an Apple TV, so
Mhm.
I'll say Pluto
Mhm.
TV has, I think, probably better content.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would imagine the cock does as well. Do we want to move on to the next speed round ostensibly story?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a cool idea that I like, but also personally I have a weird stink about it because it seems like they're trying to make me sign up again. And this is DC Universe relaunching as I think it's called DC Infinity. Coming
DC
up.
Universe Infinity.
Yeah.
Yes. I keep getting emails about it. I'm like,
Here's the thing. This
I'm
is
not
kind of what
spending.
I think we all predicted this a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and
just a month ago, I think. Also,
yeah. And I'm pretty okay with it because it like
Mhm.
my desire for this is like I don't want this to die, but it can just become something else. So it becoming an on-demand comic service, fine, cool. I'll pay for it.
No, it's
It doesn't
if it
have
has
any Vertigo
everything, I
comics.
might get it eventually. It's just a thing of like,
What
Yep.
the fuck?
okay,
Yeah.
then fuck this.
Nope. It's
They
only
are doing
online.
exclusives from what I'm seeing. So I don't know.
Wait, so wasn't
I'm
this supposed to have
seeing-
everything?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
what is the
Or
specific
my-
Vertigo though? Like, why not that?
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
So like
No Sandman,
no
no
Fables,
Swamp
no
Thing, no
That's
Preacher,
so
no.
strange.
no
Like,
Sandman, any of
Yeah.
that.
But didn't it have Vertigo in the previous iteration?
No,
Am I
because
misremembering that?
a while
Okay.
ago when,
No.
when it first launched, when it had the TV, and comics, I was telling roommate Dean about it, and he looked into it. He was like, "Yeah, they have nothing that I'd be interested in reading because they don't have any of like the graphic novel lines." Warner Bros. DC wants this to be, assuming wants it to be a family-friendly service. So you excise Vertigo, but you'll keep stuff like the issue of the Flash, where the cover is Captain Cold chainsawing Barry's legs off. Like, eat my ass if that's how you're gonna.
Hell
this.
yeah.
Like,
Well, I joined DC Universe Infinite Online, tomorrow, whatever the fuck it's called. Briefly,
Diner.
and yeah, exactly. I wanted to turn into a Korean man. And I was looking through it, and I saw they had like Batman Damned in there. Batman Damned, which you get to see Bruce Wayne's hog, but they don't.
Is
have
it the
Vertigo.
dick cut? That's the only thing that matters. Is it the dick cut?
No, I don't think it is.
Damn it.
But the fact that they're going to include something like that, but not include Vertigo stuff, it seems weird that unless they're doing the whole transition over to all Black Label potentially, but I don't think they understand. Like, even people who weren't reading Vertigo comics when they were coming out still know what Vertigo means, and that's just frustrating and asinine to me.
That is a big branding problem, specifically when it comes to DC. Like, it's all over the fucking place. They have no idea what to do with any of it.
Yep.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of big companies have a problem with it in general, especially like the family friendliness. Like, you can watch Logan on Disney Plus.
Wait, you
and
can? I was looking for it, I couldn't find it.
Oh, are you sure? I thought it was on there.
The Wolverine is, and that's why I went looking for it. I was like, "Oh, fucking Wolverine's on here. I'll go watch Logan." Couldn't find it.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
wrong.
it's not at this point.
Maybe it might be on Hulu, but I just got Disney Plus, and I got the big package, the one that has ESPN. I'll never use ESPN. I want Hulu. I can't use Hulu right now because I use the same email to sign up with Disney Plus. I used to sign up with Hulu years ago. So when I go to sign in with Hulu, they're like, "That login is incorrect." I'm like, "How about you suck my dick?" It is correct because I just paid for it.
Okay, so I mean, not to do tech support live on the air. If you sign up for another account and you still go to the authorized Hulu thing, it'll probably work. I've done that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I haven't found the time to hit him with a quick tech support thing. Like, hey, can you guys fix this? I'm sure it'll take a couple minutes.
So just
But when I bought it, it was like yeah. Well, I just paid for it, so
yeah.
Well, I want to use it.
If you go to I think if you do the authorized thing and you're signed out, and it will let you sign up, like it will sign up for another one, and it will just authorize through your Disney Plus automatically. Okay. So yeah, that should do it. Anyways, enough.
Regardless, if it's anywhere, it's probably on Hulu. That's where the FX shit is, and that's where everything else is.
Yeah.
That's where
it's just real. The Wolverine's on there, but Logan's not.
You're right.
With the Hulu thing, I had Hulu before I got the Disney Plus package, and all it does now is I'm billed separately for Hulu, and then it takes that amount out of how much it would charge me for Disney Plus.
Okay.
Fancy.
Yeah. So it's they actually thought it through when they were doing everything. But anyways, Universe
family friendly branding problems.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's really weird. Like, and some of those X-Men movies, I mean, my point still stands. Some of those X-Men movies go some fucking dark places.
Yeah.
Some real heavy
I was
shit.
rewatching the first season of Mandalorian after I finished the second one. Episode 1, he cuts a man in half. Okay? He cuts a man in half in the first 2 minutes of the first episode.
He vaporizes a Jawa.
Yeah.
Gleefully, I might add.
Yes.
And then in season 2, you guys saw my reaction in the chat, when Kara shot that Imperial officer at close range with a blaster, it doesn't matter that I didn't see the damage. What matters is, I have seen what comes out of that pew-pew pistol, and I've seen what it does to Stormtrooper armor. And the fact that you just put that in your Star Wars show on a Disney service is mind-blowing to me, because that's graphic as fuck.
Yeah, well, it's, Marvel films have gotten more and more lenient with the violence that they're showing. So
Bucky can kick a whole human into a jet engine, and it's fun.
Yeah.
There's allowed to do that because Q lets her.
So when I told you guys I was going through Civil War, Winter Soldier, Endgame, and Infinity War with my friend Joe, who just never saw any of them. And he's, I'm watching it, and every time I'm looking over him because I want to see what he's reacting to. And he made a comment earlier. He's like, "Wow, this movie gets really violent." I'm like, "Yeah." And then the Bucky thing happened, and he just leans back. He goes, "Whoa!" I was like, "I know, right?"
Pretty great. Yeah. I don't know. It's just it seems like a huge misstep on DC's part to just be like, you can have all this and some stuff that's even, I wouldn't say more horrific than Vertigo stuff, but just some stuff that's definitely in line with Vertigo.
Really bad, maybe.
But no, we're not going to allow you to do Vertigo stuff because it has the swear words and some tits. I
can pick up Dark Knight's Metal or anything from the Metal series and see something fucking horrifying.
Yeah. And
and this is a problem that even is on HBO Max with the DC stuff, because they have that whole DC section, and if you're a Disney Plus customer and you go to the Marvel section, it's all there.
Everything's there.
Except the Netflix stuff for very obvious reasons. You go on HBO Max, you're like, I feel like watching Batman Begins today. Oh wait, I can't for reasons.
Yep. Welcome.
Great company.
Welcome to the world of streaming exclusivity.
Yeah, and good on Warner Bros. For that thing with their new release schedules, for the next year or two. Super consumer friendly, but at the same time, figure your shit out. Either it's all there or it's not all there, and you need to stop walking both sides of the fence.
Nope. Nope. Don't tell me what to do. I'm
They're
an
like,
adult.
no, this is the line. We're both feet on either sides, and you're not going to move us.
I don't know. I kind of wonder some of these decisions were decisions that were made before the big shakeup at the company.
It was made by the guy who's on that roller coaster in his office, and he just can't hear anybody.
Yeah. Him and that girl who was having sex with the Hellboy toy. Yeah.
What was that dude's name again?
I don't want to.
Sure.
Yamada's the one who's currently working, right?
Yeah.
The other one's Sujihara.
Yes.
Sujihara.
Mr.
That guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he and Neil Marshall are Eskimo brothers.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Mr.
do we want to?
Sujihara, no, I have more loop-de-loops.
Do we want to move on to the main story? Even though there's a lot of other things that are going to probably get more talk, but go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. Gotham PD announced a showrunner, which is cool, I guess.
I'm
not familiar with either of those things.
Gotham PD or
the Ritual and
you haven't seen the Ritual yet?
Holy shit, dude! The Ritual.
The Ritual's awesome. Is it the one with the fucking deer monster? Right?
Yes. Oh yeah. All right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Fucking rules.
I'll say the Ritual fucks. I love that movie.
Yeah.
And I told what's it called? My friend Caitlin is like a big Norse fan. I was like, she actually came across a picture of that thing, and she was like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "Listen, honey." I was like, "This is a fucking hard movie you need to see."
You were in for some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she took an hour later, she took a dive. She was like, "This might be one of Loki's kids." I'm like, "Where did you go?" I'm like, "Do you watch the movie?" She's like, "No, I just been Wikipediaing everything." But I mean, I know that the Ritual is good. I don't know what girl Haji, Giri Haji is. But I have very complex feelings on Gotham PD because I live in a post Gotham world.
Yeah.
I hope there's a Goomba monster.
I hope at the end we have 4 Jokers and one of them looks like Dick Cheney.
Oh God!
I really hope not.
I thought you were a quail.
The others I included Giri Haji is just to show. God damn it! That's just hitting me right now. God, you fucking bastard! You son of a bitch.
Anyways.
I included the Netflix show because it shows that he's done a show. He understands the format. And so yeah, the combination of the two, I guess I'm excited. Yeah, I mean it's a good ass replacement for Terrence Winter, who's he's the guy that HBO brings in when they're like, this isn't going very well, and him leaving was kind of strange. Yeah. So it's an interesting choice, and I'm curious to see how it affects the tone of the show. So, yeah.
I'm going to predict it's not going to last that long.
Probably
not.
Yeah.
It's the show or this guy's position.
The show.
I think they announced it was be limited series.
Well, that's probably the safest bet.
Yeah, that's probably what they should have done.
Yeah,
I mean, considering the fact that they might decide to just after one Robert Pattinson movie, be like, oh, let's reboot again because we didn't like that or whatever.
I will literally jump off a bridge, honestly.
Here's the thing about that, because of all these fucking Batman projects they have in the wings, with the Michael Keaton stuff, the Affleck stuff where he's coming back for this Vapor Flash movie. Along with Keaton, but also there's rumors of Keaton getting a longer deal, where he becomes an older Bruce Wayne in the DCEU. God, it's so fucking confusing. Along with Gotham PD, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
along with Gotham PD, it's and the uncertainty around the Joaquin Phoenix Joker stuff. It's I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do in a year all this shit. Is this show gonna matter in the long run? Is it gonna be a what if?
It might not.
Well,
this show might mean absolutely nothing.
I mean, it's based on what you're just saying. That sounds a lot like what DC's been doing with their comics, which is oh, cool, people like Batman. Here's 300 Batman comics. And then 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 here's 300 Batman comics
Yeah.
Nice. Love that for me.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. Like, you have a wealth of characters that you have all access to. I mean, mind you, Marvel pretty much has access to everybody now, with the exception of Namor and the Hulk. But what are you guys doing? What are you doing? Why are you like this? Like, Gotham PD could be cool if they do it like Gotham Central, the Brubaker comic, but I don't think they will.
Okay, here's the thing with that. They said that Gotham was supposed to be a Gotham Central show, and that show, and I was like,
yeah,
fucking liars.
That's what they said, but they never really did that, in my opinion.
No, of course not. Because I think even as a limited series, like, how long into the creative process until someone's like they just threw their hands in the air, they're like, doesn't have enough Batman characters, let's put Two Faces in or something.
Yep.
Well, why is Joker's not in this? We need to put him in here.
Yep.
The Joker faction where all the people in it are claiming to be the Joker.
Christ.
Nice.
Kill me.
It's gonna happen.
Oh well, that's kind of like what's going on with Jared Leto's real life then. So
yeah.
He can have his cult of Jokers in there. Yeah, I don't know.
I love it. Can he go away and come back like every now and then and just like ponder about global events we've all had to suffer through?
No.
Just so he looks more out of touch and weird.
No, I want him to starve in a desert on a retreat.
He comes back, he's like, who's Joe Biden? What?
Okay, I'll fight. Who's the president?
Who's the president? You guys had an
What
election.
year is
What
it?
year is it?
Well, I've got some uninformed things to say about it.
With the knowledge that I have accrued while sitting in the desert, the stars told me.
Sure they did, Jared. Sure they did.
I hope this is a good show, and I don't. There's no cast announced for it, but like, are they gonna have? It's supposed to tie into Pattinson and Batman, but you're gonna have like some of the actors from that movie on this. Like, you're gonna have the guy who plays Gordon.
I would assume so.
Yeah, if it's going to be a limited series, I think that's much more attractive to bigger budget stars, because they can be like, all right, I know I'm only going to be here for X amount of episodes and then it's over. So I can understand where you could pull a lot of like higher level or bigger name cast to be in it, but it's still just, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith that they're going to pull this off either.
No, and from a casting perspective, like after burning through, like 2 seasons of Mandalorian and seeing like I rewatched. I'm going to rewatch, and like it finally hit me. I'm like, this is the most like impressive, like short form. Like, it's not. I wouldn't call it a TV show because like it doesn't air on TV. It's a streaming service, but it's got TV format. And like it washed over me. I was like, this is like super expensive looking. The cast is ridiculous. And they get like, I don't know, Timothy Olyphant shows up to talk like a fucking cowboy and then disappears.
Right.
Like,
he gets paid to do what he's been doing for years.
Yeah, like
on.
The fact that you can do that stuff in a TV format and the TV budget has not gotten to the fact that you can do that. It should open up opportunities for this show to do some cool shit, but I don't think it will.
Yeah,
I'm nervous.
I still trust HBO when they do a new show based on something, but everything outside of that is up in the air, because like the stuff that's been very successful to them on HBO Max, specifically alluding to a DC Universe stuff like Doom Patrol and whatnot, was the first season or 2 seasons on the failed DC streaming show thing, whatever. Like that's where I'm like, okay, well, you had a pre-existing thing that worked, so now you're just building off of that. But they haven't done anything wholly original yet that's based in the DC universe for HBO Max.
I can't even say Harley Quinn, because like Harley Quinn started on DC Universe, and I think season 2 debuted on DC Universe.
Yep.
And they moved it over. And honestly, I think that's like, next to Doom Patrol, that's the best fucking thing that company has put out like on the screen in a minute.
Yep.
It is really fucking good. It's honestly, I would say it's better than it has any right to be, but like after consuming it all, I'm like, man, you guys deserve all the praise in the world for turning this project I didn't think it was going to be very good, because like Deadpool light, into like the most interesting Batman story that doesn't involve Batman at all. But yeah, like, and you said Doom Patrol, and like I think that is owed to the fact that like it was on this weird little streaming service that I don't think anyone was paying too much attention to, so they could do this weird shit. Swamp Thing,
Mhm.
R.I.P.
Well, that's still up in the air because with that coming,
It's coming back.
Yeah, with it coming to WB, I guess it is that they're going to show all the episodes. Like
Which is a weird waste of money if you're not bringing it back.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my whole logic. It's like, well, why would you do this unless you're hoping to gain some new money for it?
Yeah, I think people looked at that and because who do we say was currently running WB? I can't remember who's the new the DC
Hamada.
Hamada.
Kevin Tsujihara runs WB proper.
Okay, that's right. Hamada is DC. I think it was Hamada who made like some very colorful but like vague comments about like the previous, regime and decisions that were made. I think there might be people in that company going like who the fuck can't Swamp Thing? Like, why would you do this? Like, why would you sink this money into the show, make it look and feel as good as it does, and then go like, oh, that's too many zeros. Let's get rid of this shit.
Well, that was part of the problem is that they spent more money than they thought they were going to be spending on it, and that's why it got canceled.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. Like, I would love nothing more than them to get on the right track and be able to.
Yeah.
I don't want to say pump out great stuff, but be able to put out good things on a regular basis. And at this point, I'm not super impressed. I'm not super impressed yet.
Yeah.
They're so behind on because their whole objective has always been like, gotta catch up to Marvel. You can't. You won't. So stop trying.
You don't have to.
Yeah, and you don't have to. You can be something else. And like not everything that Marvel has dropped has been good. But honestly, there's one guy to blame for two of those blunders. So I think you can blame him more than you blame Marvel.
Well,
which is funny because Joe, a buddy who watched the Marvel movies, is watching Dexter, and I went, ooh.
Oh no! Oh, did you warn him?
I warned him sufficiently.
Okay,
and
good.
I think that's kind of unfair to place that blame on Marvel, like cinema universe, because that was completely our boy Scott Buck.
Ike.
It's
Ike.
Ike. Yeah, Ike Perlmutter and Scott Buck.
Yeah, the dream team, the dynamic duo.
Like I still maintain that like the worst Marvel movie I'd rather watch a second time than I don't know, Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, I would watch okay, are we all agreeing that Thor: The Dark World?
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah. I agree that's a weak. I wouldn't call it bad. I'd say it's a weak.
No, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. I would maybe still say Iron Man 2, but like I did that rewatch like 6 months ago in COVID time. But I did that
97 years ago.
Yes.
Right. And I was like, I think I like all of these far more than I ever have in the past.
See, the thing about Iron Man 2 is I feel like not Army Hammer, fuck. Justin Hammer. Like that guy, Norman Rockwell. I think he's entertaining enough.
Norman Rockwell? You mean Sam Rockwell?
Whatever.
Hunter,
I didn't know that he does. Yeah, I didn't know he was doing paintings.
Sam fucking Rockwell is
he's like Norman Rockwell, and they hired Mickey Rooney.
He hired Mickey Rooney,
and then he went to fight Robert Downey Sr.
Yes. I worked till 3 a.m. last night. Leave me alone. So I think he's like entertaining enough where I could like forgive that movie's weirdness.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the thing. Like, even when they haven't been great, they still have entertaining moments, and they're still providing a through line to where they were heading.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of people rail against Ant-Man the Wasp, and like,
fuck that.
That movie's great. I'm like, what's wrong with you? That movie's so much fucking fun.
Right. Yeah. I don't get it.
There's a giant salt shaker.
Like, there are people who really don't like the first Ant-Man, and the reason is, well, why isn't Hope the lead character? And it's like,
what?
Yeah.
What?
Sure.
Excuse
me?
I
guess. Okay.
What?
That's a thing where it's like, why don't they just have Hope do the heist? Why does Scott even need to be here?
Okay, those people are wrong. So
I agree, but I see some element of the point where I'm like, I see why you mean that, but it's Ant-Man.
I don't at all. That's retarded.
But it's also easily explained away where Hope's dad could be like, absolutely fucking not.
Right. Yeah, it's like, are you not connecting with the movie, which is about a daughter reacting with her father, and how he can't let her go and can't let her endanger.
I'm sure Hank would have serious fucking hangups about it, considering that he lost his wife in some kind of tiny, shrunken nightmare realm.
Well, it's also all Peter Quill's fault. So
Exactly. Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Anyways,
he's the worst.
what are we fucking talking about? I'm gonna watch Giri Haji now because I didn't realize that was the same guy. So that's a positive.
Okay, I read the plot synopsis, and that actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna transition and say that Huntress is the part of the show where you get to be mad.
Well, not mad.
We can do that now.
Yes.
It's
I wouldn't say mad, but like I'm sure there's complicated feelings on this because I'm sure I share some of them.
Yeah, there's complicated because like on one hand, this is like really good because
it's good. Okay, so we're covering the Star Wars exclusivity with EA ending, and on one hand, that's pretty good.
That's
because
awesome
because EA made all those great games. Am I right?
And
yeah.
So okay. The thing about EA that I don't think a lot of people understand is like they're essentially a company that exists just to create a monopoly. That is their whole kind of like deal. It's like they want to own everything. They don't want competition because they can make easy money that way.
Yeah, and the thing about them is that they don't just want to own everything. If they like once they own it, and by like any sort of arbitrary qualifiers or like if they don't meet these certain ludicrous, lofty expectations, that thing no longer deserves to live, and they just drag it out back and shoot it.
Yeah, they shoot in the head like Dead Space.
They're a vile corporate entity. I really can't stand them. And as far as like them holding a Star Wars license, it was preposterous to me then. It's preposterous to me now, considering the output that they've been, responsible for.
Which is crazy.
4 games?
It's
4 games?
There's like 5 games.
Like what the fuck?
The thing is, like, this is good.
2 of them you had to fix.
Yeah. Actually, one of them was so bad that it almost changed video games forever.
Yes.
There's almost government overreach.
Oh, Battlefront?
Yeah.
I would say that it did actually make enough waves that there were some huge changes made because all the things that happened in Europe with like loot boxes and having to put the exact like probability of getting things and having to be completely upfront with costs and your chances of actually getting things from said costs. So I would say that was a good thing, but it wasn't enough. Like,
yeah, it was like at the end of the day, this is good. I think the Lucasfilm Games, the company that's going to own the rights to this stuff and hand them out as they see fit. I think the things they're choosing to make now are very telling of how they're going to approach this. Because Machine Games is making an Indiana Jones game, and that is like perfect for them.
Yes, it is.
Ubisoft Massive supposedly working on a Bad Batch game or some sort of Star Wars open world game.
That's where the complicated feelings come in because you're like, oh, you went from one really terrible entity to another really terrible entity.
Well, here's the thing: Ubisoft is not as bad as they used to be.
No, as far as like the thing is, like EA and Ubisoft, I think are both terrible, but they're both terrible for uniquely different reasons.
Yes. I hope to God they all like don't touch each other while they're making this game.
Oh, God, I don't. My biggest concern with the Ubisoft game is that I like the Division games. Like, don't get me wrong, but I don't need multiplayer in every goddamn game that comes out.
Well, here's where that gets interesting because this is the same studio that made Far Cry 3.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm like, this could go either way.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Here's the thing. If a single player experience. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. If the single player experience is anything like the single player experience in Far Cry 3, then we're in for a treat because that's like, that's one of the best first person shooter stories I've ever touched.
Yeah, and they've never recreated that.
I don't think they've created any. Like, I jumped into Far Cry 4.
That game
because Far Cry 3 was so interesting and like immediately captivating, and then like halfway through you're like, this is actually making me think about what I'm doing a lot.
Yeah.
And like I think Far Cry 3 actually like retroactively curb stomps a game like The Last of Us 2, because Far Cry 3 makes you commit all these acts of violence as this like really, really spoiled yuppie white kid. But it turns out that like you're like the character, like what is his name, Jason?
He's got some generic
Jason
guy name. He might as well be named Hunter. Let's be real.
Like it like halfway through, you're kind of like, wait a minute, this isn't an error of dissonance. This kid is a psychopath.
Yeah,
he's really good at lots of murder and eventually enjoys it. And this island brings out the worst in him, and like Voss is like kind of like his looking glass, where it's like Jason's gonna be like this dude real soon. So I think like if you can get that kind of a tight narrative experience that goes to the surreal ass places that Far Cry 3 does, then I'm on board. However, the multiplayer stuff is where you will lose me, because I don't think I ever touched the Far Cry 3 multiplayer.
Alternatively, it could be a lot like Blood Dragon, which is fucking.
Oh my god, I love Blood Dragon so much.
Actually, I really want that.
Dragon, like,
Dragon, so like the tutorial in Blood Dragon is the fucking best.
I mean, go ahead.
I think that it's a good studio to like kind of test the waters. Yeah, I don't think this is like indicative of what they're going for as a whole for Star Wars, because like Fallen Order sold a shit ton.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
and
that's why this is happening.
After they assured us that it wouldn't.
Yes.
Well, isn't Fallen Order getting a sequel too?
Yeah, that was even better. The better part of this is immediately after EA is like, "Hey, we're still making Star Wars games, guys."
Yeah,
and which was sad. It was really sad.
Well,
I think the only reason people care about that is it's Fallen Order 2, right? They're making Fallen Order 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
and maybe another Battlefront is another thing I heard.
God, who could care?
What are they gonna do for another Battlefront? Is the question, though.
Yeah, that's actually that's a really good question, actually, because like, didn't Battlefront 2 farm like every possible bit of material from the Star Wars universe to put in a war game?
It's all in there.
Like, what are you gonna do? Like this level's from The Mandalorian. There were no humans in that episode of The Mandalorian. So what do you do?
I mean, now you say a Battlefront game taking place in between the sequel trilogy and Return would be interesting. But
I like Battlefront 2. I don't think you need to make another one.
No.
Well, and like to your point, Arlen, I would like to see them actually properly explore the time, like. Because like when we were kids, exactly. Like when we were kids, like the Death Star blows up, like that's it, they won the war. Yes. And now we have like the Mandalorian out and stuff like that, and like all the supplemental material and like the stuff you see on Jakku in The Force Awakens. You're like, wait a minute, what is all this shit? I want to see this. Like the Empire like struggling to exist and then finally being just pulverized into nothing.
And we might actually see the stuff on Jakku, but it feels like there's gonna be this wall for the next X couple of years, where if it gets too close to the prequel trilogies, or prequel trilogy or sequel trilogy, god fucking damn it, and fucking Kylo and Rey and all of that, it feels like nope, you don't get to play with those toys.
They're gonna.
We've decided we played with them.
They're gonna treat the sequel trilogy like they did the prequel trilogy. They're like, oh, this is toxic, we're not gonna touch it.
Well, that's not necessarily true, because. And mind you, it's slightly different, but the Lego Star Wars games, they're coming out with a Skywalker Saga one.
Yeah.
Which is completely like new. It's not just a rehash of the prequel and original trilogy games. Like it's supposed to be completely new stuff through the whole thing.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I looking at what we have now though, like with the Indiana Jones thing and Star Wars, like they're priming to make this a thing.
Yeah,
this is gonna be the next Marvel games. Like,
I hope. Like, well, it'd be nice if they actually got some good Marvel games out there too, outside of Avengers.
Well, that's Spider-Man. That's it.
I mean,
if you put those two in the same box, you're like, oh, this is great. This is busted.
I also think Avengers came before the whole Marvel games thing. I think that's a relic of what Marvel was in video games.
Like, me and Eric were talking about this before the show. Like, there's still time to turn that game into something.
Oh yeah,
like really good. Yeah. But like they've got to fucking step on it, and
they got to actually do it.
Fucking delays are killing that game horribly.
Yep. That's COVID. So
yeah. I'm sure they will turn around because it's a thing of Warframe had a similar thing going for it. Like,
man, Warframe is an example that most games should look to and go like, look, if they can do it, like there's no reason why we can't.
If the weird cyborg ninja game can turn itself around, you can't do.
Deep lore space ninja game that I knew nothing about. And when I got to play, I was like, where has this been my whole life? That has been doing nothing but just releasing free content for 8 fucking years.
Hell yeah, they got space battles now.
if they can do it, the fucking AAA studios can do it. So
yeah, they'll turn around.
Yeah, give it time.
I was even saying to Eric before we started in the chat, like that game really lights up once you hit a certain point in the end game stuff. Like once the grinding is paid off, you're like, oh, finally something has clicked. But it's a criminally long amount of time.
Yeah. But yeah, also I feel like this has sparked a discussion in my head about the state of licensed games. Like there's not really been a bad licensed game in a while, has there?
Yeah. Well, nobody is just shoveling out trash what is it, Cliffhanger, the Super Nintendo game, and
Cliffhanger, or the Batman Returns PS2 game.
Oh,
what? Wait,
you don't know about that?
Wait.
It had a fear system, Connor.
Yeah,
it's bad. It's really shit.
Or the Rise of Sinzu and stuff like that.
Oh man, or Batman Vengeance. It's just I don't think there's been a really bad license game. I think that's a good thing, really. If you're gonna give out IPs, might as well make them good.
Exactly.
Oh, it's Batman Begins, not Batman Returns.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Okay. I thought you said that meant Batman Returns, and I was like, fucking what?
No, they wouldn't.
It's very rare for someone to license out an IP like that based on something from the 70s. I thought you were it's a Warrior situation where some studio was like, let's make a big giant game out of this 30-year-old property.
Just imagining Frank Miller going what's a PlayStation 2?
Also we're past the time where Marvel and Disney were very content with being like, hey Sega, can you make an Iron Man game in 6 months?
That was because Bob Iger thought video games were beneath him. He was very public about the idea that he does not care for video games.
Yeah, or when we're having James Bond games, they're just released to
oh yeah,
hey, remember GoldenEye? You're like, yeah, and they go, here's GoldenEye 2. It doesn't have James Bond, but it has a spy who has a golden eyeball.
Dude, Rogue Agent actually
here's a complete remake of GoldenEye, except we put Daniel Craig in as the model for your character. So
and now it's just Call of Duty. Have fun.
My favorite. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I really had to say about Lucasfilm games. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because I really EA should never have the exclusivity to begin with because
for anything.
They don't have. I don't think they have a strong palette as far as their output goes because they make pretty much the same shit all the time.
They don't care anymore.
It's almost like Valve, where Valve is just so content to do whatever the fuck they're doing. They don't care about creative endeavors too much anymore. Although Gabe Newell is we have games coming out. I'm like, if they don't begin with half and end with Life 3, I don't care.
Alex is actually really good though.
Yeah, cool. Half-Life Alyx is really, really good.
Yeah, that is the glimmer of hope I have, especially considering how I hear it ends.
Yep.
It's giving me some optimism, but until I see something I'm forever sketchy. But EA feels very monochromatic and homogenized, and nothing ever feels Fallen Order. I think is a special entry in that whole pile because Fallen Order is fucking great. As clunky as it can be, damn, this game's good.
Oh, they tripped over their own dicks when they made that. That was. I don't think they expected the response that they got from it, which was holy shit, a really good Star Wars game from EA. And every time someone said like, "Yeah, this is really great," and it's from EA, they're just like, "No, god damn it, no."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think my big thing with that game is like I didn't think that you could put Dark Souls stuff in a Star Wars game and make it work, because to me Star Wars is hyper accessible and Dark Souls is very, very specific and has.
I don't know if it works amazingly.
It doesn't. Here's the thing. It works better than most other Souls-like things because
it works enough. I'd say.
Yes, it works enough. The platforming is shit. The platforming is bad. It's really.
It's so bad. It's so bad that they put in like a force power to fix it. It's great.
Yeah, it's terrible.
The reason why the Dark Souls-esque parts work is because they're not outright aping all of Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's just like
no, they're not.
That part works. Let's put this in. That part works from this game. Let's put it in here.
Yeah,
which is a smart
I would
way to
say
do it.
like it's not as like if you're talking about Dark Souls like it's not the Surge 2, but it's good. By the way, people should play the Surge 2.
They should.
Yeah, they should, and please don't play the Surge 1 because I played about 10 hours of that game and I was like, this is balls.
I don't remember where I am in that. Or you could play the other game from the company that made the Surge, which is Dark Souls, whatever the fuck.
Lords of the Fallen.
That game's. I've played that game when it launched. That game fucking sucks.
That game is okay. Let's real quick. Like, never mind the fact that it's a bad copy of the Dark Souls mechanics.
It's just bad all around.
That game has the dumbest, simplest, like hand wavy, generic fantasy lore I have ever seen. I'm like,
you have three classes.
You have a bald white guy with a big sword and big, stupid, clunky shoulder armor, and every single fucking enemy is a dude in armor. Try harder.
Nope. Fuck you.
Yeah, and then they took all the right lessons in the Surge 2. It was like this fucking fantastic cyberpunky, intense combat RPG. It's so good.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah.
But I think we went to the MCU stuff. Y'all want now?
Yeah, I think we should.
Karen Gillan,
my bae, Scottish is going to be in Love and Thunder, which now adds like this movie is turning out the way I kind of wanted it to be, which seems like all of these, like it's almost like a Steven Universe thing or like a Tenchi Muyo, where you have a male protagonist who is surrounded by interesting female characters.
Yeah.
We'll see. You don't sound convinced, Arlen.
It could just be like the fourth Guardians of the Galaxy movie from the sounds of it.
Yeah, pretty much over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's still exciting.
Tessa Thompson coming back as Valkyrie.
Wait, we're forgetting the best part about this, and that is Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher.
Okay,
yes. They confirmed that.
That is one of my favorite things about this because that character's steeped heavily in symbiote lore, isn't he?
No.
I thought he was.
No, you're thinking of Noel. You're thinking of
hang on. No,
there's this. No, I'm with Connor on this.
He is not. Gore the God Butcher is not a symbiote.
I'm calling bullshit right now.
I've read the book. He's not a symbiote.
Here.
He is a very angry young man.
But he has last time I checked, he has strong connections to symbiote stuff in that universe. Hang on.
Yeah, I mean, it's Wikipedia, but I'm seeing a symbiote in the description.
Oh, I know he came back, and that's when I didn't read most of that shit. I know he did come. That might be where it is, but I know from what I know of Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah, unless this is something that's introduced later in Aaron's Thor run, like the first 24 issues of Thor, if I'm remembering correctly, deal exclusively with like Gore the God Butcher. At least he's the big bad.
He's fucking rad.
There's not an ounce of symbiote in there. Like
abilities, symbiote grants superhuman strength, speed, stamina, and durability.
Whoa, that must be really recent.
Yeah, and his I was listening to a podcast about this. His symbiote is like the leftovers of a dead god. It's like
Oh, hell yeah.
from like
That's his whole thing, baby.
Yeah, and it says the blade he has, which is the Necro sword. The blade was forged by Null, the progenitor of the symbiote.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that is recent.
Yeah.
Then that's
using the head of a
that
killed
was
Celestial.
that was introduced recently because Null didn't pop up until they
Null
brought
is
up
coming.
Maximum Carnage.
Okay,
which was
but seeing how the MCU does pull a lot from contemporary Marvel, do you think that they will approach this with maybe?
Not in this movie, at least.
No.
So probably not, because my understanding is that the inspiration for the way Hela works in Ragnarok came from Gore the God Butcher. So Gore the God Butcher might be completely different.
Gore the God Butcher's fucking rad. I can't wait.
He is.
Yeah,
He's
like
great.
his character might be the same, but the way that he works, or whatever's, however they display him, might be.
But my other thing with that is like because of the relationship with Disney and Sony and Marvel and how it is now with like, with like the moderate amount of crossover they're allowing, like Morbius and stuff like that, and
I have
showing more. Yeah, no, that fake movie. It's actually a Mortal Kombat prequel.
Don't even.
You're not. I'm not allowing this. This is. I am Alex Jones, stoning QAnon right now with this bullshit. I just no.
Or the God Butcher won't have a symbiote. All right.
What a pumpkin possum.
People are fucking liars.
No one's coming.
No, I mean, I think to strike it what you're trying to get at, Connor, is no, I don't think they're going to use this Thor movie to introduce symbiotes at all.
Oh, no,
I think Venom will come to the MCU at this point.
I wouldn't say introduce symbiotes formally, like, hey, this is the official bridge, but like do it without having to call it a symbiote. We look at it and go, that's a fucking symbiote.
I think symbiotes are coming. I think that is a fucking no-brainer that Venom comes to the MCU.
I think things are still partitioned enough between what's officially Sony's playground and what's officially Marvel's that yes, Spider-Man is crossing over between them, and yes, there'll be other things that cross over. But for them to even like elbow nudge, this is the symbiote, that still seems like a step too far for them. I think Arlen is pretty much on point with like the idea that
I don't know.
Gore is going to maybe have some different things going on than what he did in the comic. Because I mean,
no, he's not going to be 100% the same.
Yeah, I mean, think about Age of Ultron. Like that was a very different story than what we got out of that.
Yeah, some people are wrong about it, but yeah.
I think some people that was the time when they were like, Hank Pym's problematic.
He's still problematic, but not in the movie.
He's still problematic, but I think that way they've used him is great. Hank Pym, that is. But I was gonna say like what Christian Bale, like he pops up and he's like I'm Gore the God, but looks right at the camera and goes, I'm not a fucking symbiote. Like just breaks character and just.
Sure. Or, I mean, like when I think of something like I'm thinking of the scene where Korg and Thor are trying out weapons, and he's like, you could kill 3 vampires with this, or something to that effect, like a joke like that, an offhanded reference. Those powers, they reminded me a lot of a symbiote, and then that's it. That's just all they do, and they make some sort of
the sword. It's powered by some kind of sentient black goo.
I think, to your point, though, I do think the symbiotes are coming because, like, this whole recent Marvel comics recently have just been all symbiotes all the time.
Yeah.
So
they're also bringing the Phoenix Force to all of the Avengers.
Yeah,
bullshit.
I don't like that.
Yes, yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it. I've seen pictures of like
that's like
Phoenix
the core
powers.
Concept of Avengers versus X-Men too.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I do not,
which is so dumb.
I don't like that fucking story at all.
It is so stupid. I love it.
But I was like, I'm not to go in a small little. What am I talking about? Just the whole time. This never happens on the Phantom Zone.
No,
I was reading that fucking book, and I was like, why are these people fighting? Like, I don't feel any emotional surge about why you just drop the blind man Daredevil into the water so he can get sucker punched by Namor. Like, none of this makes any fucking sense to me.
Because
also, why would you bring Daredevil in a skirmish like that? Like, you trying to
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit just based off of the details you're giving me. Like, why are you bringing Daredevil with you? This doesn't make
dropped
sense.
him into the ocean.
That's
His
like-
senses are fucked.
Have you ever
Yeah.
seen that panel of? I don't know if it's real or not, but it's like Daredevil using a turret and he's just yelling, "I'm so sorry."
I read from a Phoenix, which is that like exhaustively recreated and rewritten version of Avengers vs. X-Men.
Yes.
All people say when Daredevil's on the panel is like, "What the fuck is he even doing here?"
Oh, poor
Exactly.
Matt. Poor Matt.
Like,
Well,
almost like
yeah.
I think he's off panel and someone's like, he's like, "Dude, this is fucked." He's like, "We got this happening over here, this happening over here. Matt Murdock is punching nothing over there." Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, Daredevil got Hemdel's powers in the War of the Realms storyline.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
yeah.
And that was pretty sick, honestly.
Yes.
that's awesome.
Occasionally they give him upgrades, right? They gave him
Yes.
like
War-
dragon
War of the
powers
Realms-
once or whatever.
Real quick, War of the Realms is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I've never read the whole thing. I just know
I
the bits and
really
pieces
love
of it. But
But
yeah.
to get back to Love and Thunder, like I would say like the female cast of this movie is like really impressive, and that's kind of the only reasons I'm really excited for it, because like when this is all forming, like I was like, all right, Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, I always forget this fucking woman's name, but the one who plays Lady Sif, she's in Class of Titans.
Yeah.
And then
Mantis.
Huh?
Mantis is gonna be in it.
Mantis is gonna be in it, and like it made me think of something like Tenchi Muyo, where you have kind of a dumb male lead who is surrounded by all these like kick-ass beautiful women. I'm like, that sounds really interesting, considering Chris Hemsworth's representation of Thor is like this. He's hunky, but he is kind of a goof.
Well, this brings up
Himbo energy.
a good question of continuity. Like, so I know Guardians 3 isn't supposed to be out for a while. How is this going to work, being that the last time I saw Thor he was flying off with the Guardians?
I mean, my assumption has been, and maybe this hasn't been everybody else's, so please tell me, I had assumed that Natalie Portman was the lead of this movie, and because they're doing female Thor.
Well, I know she's going to become female Thor, but I don't know, because they showed that Thor was still worthy of the hammer in Endgame. So I don't.
I think it also showed that like two versions of that weapon can exist in like the same space, because like him having Mjolnir in Endgame is like a temporal paradox. Like he shouldn't have it.
Well, no, they explain it because they
do explain it, but I think it also it opens the door to be like, you can have, because the hammer is destroyed in his universe, in his timeline, like because of the whole multiverse thing. Like, you could bring in a version of, or maybe it's the same version. Like, I don't know, maybe she meets herself from a different universe, and that version has already like succumbed to the cancer that was killing Jane Foster in the comics, and she gets the hammer from herself or something crazy like that.
I mean, there's a lot of things they can do. I haven't read Aaron's Thor run, but I know Hunter and Eric have. But I've learned a lot about some of the details that come from it. And if they bring in some like deep cut, I'm not going to say the hammer's name, but if they bring in the deep cut lore, Mjolnir lore, they can explain away why it's still there or how it back in some way. Some specific details from that could explain.
Well, I mean,
why.
with Thor being the Allfather essentially at this point, like he could reforge it if he wanted to.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be that he creates a hammer for her so she survives her cancer. Because I think that's the biggest thing, is that like I don't think there's any way to get around that part of the storyline. Like, you have to include that. That has to be the drive.
Honestly, I think that is incredible motivation for the Thor character, because like, let's say he goes off with the Guardians and comes back and like runs into Jane. He's like, how's it going? She's like, I have cancer. And he's like, that's fucking terrible, and I'm a god, and I'm going to fix this. Like,
I mean, on that point, I don't see him being the main character of this movie for the most part. I think he's in it, obviously. Yeah. I see it as, if you remember back when they were talking about like Ruffalo entering phase 3 or something, they were like, we can't do a Hulk movie, so we've just like cut up pieces of a Hulk movie and distributed them through a bunch of other movies. I see it as kind of like that. Chris Hemsworth as Thor proper, he's getting like half of a movie here and half of a movie here, assuming that he is still in Guardians 4 for a significant amount of period, or significant period of time. And I think that we could see the direct result of what happens in this movie affecting the next Guardians movie, because I have seen Taika and Gunn saying that they are purposefully working together on the two movies. Like, there's more of a sense of this is what's happening on my movie than a lot of other Marvel movies get, is my understanding.
And
so
I think on that note, it's something that MCU has learned, that letting our directors work together with films that are going to be directly connected is nothing but beneficial for everyone, including the audience. And I really think we'll see that going forward with Marvel films.
Yeah, I think that was a hard lesson to learn, especially recently too, because Captain Marvel shows up in Endgame, and you're like, that's a different character from the one.
She is. That's not even, my mind doesn't go there. My mind goes to resetting Thor at the beginning of Infinity War and having him do the same arc that he just did again. Over the course of Endgame. So if they had been in a little bit more communication, and I don't know, somebody saw a daily from Ragnarok before seeing, because they hadn't seen the movie at all going into Infinity War.
And Captain Marvel wasn't even made or finished when fucking she showed up in Endgame.
And Brie Larson all hated them. So
exactly.
Right? Yeah, she hated them, obviously.
Yeah, she hated them, and they hated her.
And that was all dream sequence because women can't go to space.
I
also think Ragnarok, they were not expecting it to be as big as it was. I think that's why they're like, yeah, sure, let's give it to what's easy. Let's see what happens. And they're like,
let's give it to the Taiki Watata guy.
Yeah, and the fact that it was...
I hope that they said it that way too.
Yeah, me too.
The fact that it was as well received as it was for essentially being largely comedic, I think, kind of shocked them, and that made them maybe rethink some things they're going to be doing going forward.
Yeah. Oh fuck! I had a thought. It's gone. Hemsworth. I can see him doing that thing that Erwin just said, spreading his story out, because, Evans also just came back too, but outside of Dungeon is done. Dungeon, I think Hemsworth is in this forever. I don't think he's gonna leave. So I think they can farm stories out of him and that character for a long time, because he seems genuinely enthusiastic to stick around, especially with what they're doing with Thea, especially since Ragnarok. I think he's all on board with whatever, y'all just do it.
Yeah. I guess we will see. I see that Hunter stepped away for a minute.
Wait, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. All right.
Well, I was listening to you say women can't be in space.
They do.
Yeah,
they're not allowed to be.
They also can't use hammers. So what are they thinking?
Well, and they can't.
They can't lift a lightsaber. You expect me to believe they can lift a whole hammer with their dainty little fingers?
Yeah, and they can't fight a great. They can't fight a great Jagras.
Exactly.
If Jane Foster went to throw Mjolnir, it would just carry her by the arm and throw her into space.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
All women know are spatulas.
So then, it's like catapult. The hammer keeps going and just launches her ahead of it.
Let's jump into the Hunter specific area.
Yeah.
Talk a little Moon Knight.
Man, this is something I can offer no input.
So
I don't know. I know fuck all about Moon Knight.
I don't think Ethan Hawke is going to be playing Bushman. I think he's going to be playing I think he's going to be playing a mercenary character. Personally,
I could see that, or I could see him, and I don't know that many Moon Knight villains, because all the Moon Knight stuff I've read has either been Warren Ellis or dealing with the psychosis of the character.
Yeah.
But I could see him being a representation of Khonshu.
Yeah, probably.
Or something along those lines, a representation of an Egyptian god that Khonshu has been in battle with.
I just I think part of it is I don't know if they're gonna go the whole crazy route on the first first season of the series.
No, I don't think so either. I think there might be elements of it here and there.
Yeah, I think they'll hint at it, look at this. This is weird, isn't it?
although it's Oscar Isaacs, and I know he would probably be really good doing like I'm absolutely batshit insane.
He needs dance at least once. That's all we want.
Oh, of course.
Oscar Isaac needs dance. Benson and Moorhead.
That says that. So yeah.
Benson and Moorhead are also pretty good gets.
Yes. Which if I know Arlen's seen it and I bought it, you guys all need to see Syncrotic. It's really good.
It's so good.
It's really fucking good.
Is that the
I just want to give a quick update. Apparently, Joe has finished Dexter, and I asked him what was going on, and he just went ugh, and that's the last thing he said.
No.
At least you warned him.
For him.
He's an ass hunter.
So is Syncrotic the Alien movie, or am I?
No, it's Anthony Mackie.
No,
Anthony Mackie. Okay, is that the Netflix thing then, right?
No.
Okay.
No, it's.
They play paramedics in New Orleans, and a drug that might be giving people the ability to travel through time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Whoa.
Okay,
And
I want to see this.
Yeah. Dude, you need to watch all of their movies because and the connection in this one is very subtle, but I really I lit up when it was announced. So yeah, that was
Ooh, okay.
I just love these directors. Their stuff is so good.
They are batting a perfect game. Like they have not done anything that I've been like that was okay. Like everything I've watched by them, I've been like, this is great, and I'm so glad they're getting to work with something.
Oh, this is the Endless. Okay, so I have seen their movies. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you seen Resolution? Have you seen?
Spring? Yeah, I've seen Resolution. Yeah,
have you seen?
Spring is the one I have not seen yet.
Spring you need to see, but it's the least successful, I would say.
These are the movies that I've been sitting on for too long and just have to get around to because I keep forgetting about them. To be honest.
Yes.
Resolution is fantastic.
Yes.
Resolution. So
Are they all? I asked the question before. Like, are they all connected? Even
like
Resolution.
There's like nods.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Because like I remember the connection. The connection and the Endless and Resolution are pretty solid.
Yes.
Is it like Cloverfield to 10 Cloverfield Lane?
No.
No, more so than that. Even like.
Okay.
There are connections. The main connection is a character.
Yes.
All right.
Named
Okay.
Shitty Carl.
100%, because I mean, parts of the Endless take place in Resolution.
Yeah. So
I know about across all of them. Like if you're talking about Spring, he's the thing that connects Spring. To them.
Yeah.
Nothing in Spring is explained by anything that happens in the other three movies, but
he's sort of the Stan Lee.
Kind of.
He's the Agent Coulson. The
Actually, better.
Named,
Shitty Carl.
Shitty Carl is the Agent Coulson. No, I don't think it is. Oh, you mean? Wait, what? I'm very confused.
It's a joke from Avengers.
Okay.
He goes, I'm sorry, his name is Agent?
Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah, that's a Tony thing.
I understand that reference.
Tony Sting. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I thought we were having a Discord error.
So, actually, knowing that this is the Endless guy means I think they're going to nail it. Because, like, that is, like, the tone that you kind of want. Is, like, these movies.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I kind of think that like every time Marvel brings in people to work outside of their known genre, they usually slam dunk. I mean, a couple of us were kind of here and there on Doctor Strange, but like, I think Scott Derrickson did a good job. The Russos
did a great job.
We're comedy guys who came in and banged out 4 of the best action movies I've ever seen.
I will say this about Doctor Strange: it is a beautiful movie. It looks good to look at.
And since this is going to be a TV show, what we're seeing on WandaVision only gives me
yes,
like it's clearly a creator with a very distinct vision, and it seems like they're just being allowed to do what they want with that.
Yes.
So
that being said, can we do a quick aside on WandaVision real fast? Because that show produced some of the most chilling things I've seen in a minute.
Yeah,
by doing practically nothing.
It's weird because it's like the most surreal like Marvel thing, and like the moments where they kind of break away from the illusion work so well. It's kind of
Terrifying.
they're scary as fuck.
When that dude is, and this isn't really a spoiler, like, so I mean, if you're sensitive, then here's your warning. But like, I'm just gonna go into like a handful of scenes that don't really give away too much information. When that guy is choking, and what's her face is just going, "Stop it."
Kitty from
and just like,
show, by the way.
And like Vision is staring there helplessly, and Wanda is doing nothing, and there's no music. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is horrifying. And then like honestly, so far what I'm gleaning from this, like, this looks like a fucking parade through someone's guilt, and it's crushing. Like, I think the tone of it being like cheeky sitcoms worsens the blow, because I'm like, this is a woman losing her fucking mind.
Yeah, she's clearly not doing well. And
no,
I think
apparently it happens very shortly after Endgame, and I'm like,
Are-
that makes this even worse.
are we all caught up?
I'm mostly caught up.
So okay, so
I am
did you watch
100%.
the end of the last episode? Is what I'm gonna ask.
Yes.
Is that where they dropped the U word?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was.
Well,
It's more of the reveal at the end of the episode.
I don't think I finished it then.
Okay,
Like,
so I will not spoil it for you, but
yeah,
okay.
well, the thing I wanted to point out was, having just watched Infinity War and Endgame yesterday, it's interesting that Wanda doesn't have her accent.
They explained that off camera. They explained that I think, like, in an interview, what's her face said, like, in the story, when you're not, like, in the stuff in between, Black Widow was teaching her how to blend into different cultures so she wouldn't be so easily identified. That's like that is the hand waving excuse.
Okay, but
All
I mean,
right.
if this is taking place shortly after Endgame, like that doesn't work, because she still had her accent when she was talking to Thanos.
which makes the first episode even funnier, because like he keeps saying, "Oh, my European wife," and it's clearly this American woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this show is doing, like, this is the first time anyone has mentioned Pietro since the end of Ultron.
Oh, he's coming back! I can't wait. He's coming back.
They keep referencing weird shit in weird ways.
My
Like,
baby boy.
the watch that has Hydra on it, and then the toaster is definitely the fucking bomb that they were looking at to make sure it didn't blow up when they were killing Rebel. Like, and like, if you lose that line in Age of Ultron, that toaster means nothing to you. But the fact that that's in there, and like that is a weird allusion to like a line in that movie that I didn't think they would even bother with. And then the fact that Stroker's fucking fortress is on a picture in her fucking wall. What?
And I don't know if you noticed this, but like her powers are drastically changed too.
Yes, they have.
Yes, and like stuff with color, I think, is deeply horrifying, because she decides to colorize the world because she sees color as an infraction or a glitch or a problem. So she's like, fuck it, everything's color, that way I can't see the problems. And then the whole like, when what's her face says Ultron's name and Wanda just fucking flicks her out of reality.
Well,
I was like, this is a story about fucking denial.
That was the point where her accent started to come back a little bit. I noticed that because I just watched that episode today, and like when she's like, "What did you say?" and it's like, "Oh, there it is. There it is."
And the long, pregnant, horrible pause in between, wasn't it like, I was a twin once? Long pause. Wasn't he killed by Ultron? Long dramatic pause. I'm like, this is like, there's dread around every fuck corner of the show.
Yeah, it's so good. It's honestly,
Vision has no agency. Vision doesn't do anything on his own.
No.
Yeah, because he's not really.
When the guy's choking, he sits there, and Wanda has to tell him to help.
Which is with this third episode, he seemed to have a little bit more agency, because
he's still like, things need to happen for him to like spring into action, though.
Well, to an extent, but I mean, when he's talking to the neighbor and that woman who's whatever her name is, like when those two are talking outside when Wanda's busy giving birth, like he's like, wait, you're both what? You're both like, he wants to know, and that seems to show an autonomy from Wanda's desires, I guess.
So my question is like, okay, so somebody pull up the IMDb page for this. apparently James Spader is listed among the cast.
What?
Yes,
Spider-Man.
as Ultron.
I thought you meant his character from Blacklist.
Okay, but I need it to be James Spader wearing like the old school like Ultron like
Okay.
or whatever.
Yes, we need that. I want that.
It's just Robert California with a fucking Ultron mask on. He's
Yes.
like,
Well,
they sold my house and had the audacity to call my lounge a rumpus room.
Well, I'd seen a video that was showing some of the Easter eggs and whatnot, and there's a statue that you see briefly that's an old Marvel character called the Wizard, which originally they were saying that was Wanda and Pietro's father before they canonically made Magneto.
Whoa.
Yes.
Their father. So there's little bits here and there that like, if you don't know, like, you're not gonna realize, like, oh, that's just a weird looking statue.
That's the other thing too. Is like, okay, so between the Hydra Watch, the Stark Toaster, Stroker's Fortress, Ultron being mentioned, they seem to be hinting at like Wanda's like weird metaphorical parentage a lot.
Yeah.
Also with Ultron, like, what if this is just him? Like, what if this is the
I don't know
weird
about that.
comes back?
I don't
not with the way the third episode ended, which you didn't get to.
No,
so, yeah.
No.
no. It's.
I think it's all Wanda.
I do think that this might be like, if it doesn't come back now, I think this is probably one of the means to his return. Like, I don't think you. I know it's for Wanda's character. I just don't think you mentioned Ultron that way without maybe like said like, oh yeah, he's looming somewhere. I don't think he's dead, because I think the idea of wiping him out was a very difficult.
Right.
I have a bit of a theory of what's going on. I don't, because it's gonna partly spoil something, so I won't bring it up. But I don't know. So far, my theory is holding.
Yeah, I think I have a similar theory, and yeah, I don't like an outside villain like with the capital V with their own thing that they're doing doesn't seem like a direction that they're going in. I can see it going more of a Legion direction where
with rap battle.
Entity,
can't wait.
Right. Well, yes. I mean, similar enough. Like some entity that is non-corporeal, like just breezes through town and gets stuck in Wanda's trap. I could see something like that occurring, but I think it's all Wanda. I think a lot of this is Wanda.
I was going back to the Legion thing where it's like I'm already seeing this do what Legion does in a much shorter amount of time, where it spins the narrative back around to Wanda and says like, no, you're doing a lot of this, and like you need to take a step back and realize what you're doing.
It's already been established that SWORD is an actual thing in the MCU. They're not what is it? Sentient world. It's sentient weapons.
Weapon.
Which observation, reporting, and whatever. I'm okay with it because
again kind of proves my theory right a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also wondering if it's going to be SWORD and AIM, because I goddamn guarantee the beekeeper thing is AIM. And I've seen.
If it is AIM, I'm excited.
The thing with the beekeeper thing, that is so fucking on the nose.
It is.
Come on, like everything about AIM, they call their infantry keepers. Their fucking logo is a honeycomb. Come on.
Well, like there are honeycombs all over the show so far. So.
Yep. There's even in the newest episode, all the hexagons, which that's what honeycombs look like.
I hope this means Aldrin Gillich comes back. Yes. That's all I want.
No,
I really want him.
Nope, never mind.
I really want him to come back because the character's so stupid. I love him.
I am the Mandarin.
I just want AIM in their official AIM costumes.
Honestly, yes, because like AIM sets up so many villains that like I think it's the smartest thing you could do is have AIM be also, like the new Hydra.
The MCU with the death of Hydra like leaves this giant vacuum. I think in that universe, because there's like they won. There's no evil organizations. There's nothing. There's no standing powerful faction in the MCU that's villainous.
They win.
Yep.
Yeah, we had Hydra. They were both annihilated.
And for most people, with the exception of people who watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., most people don't know what happened to Hydra. They don't know that apparently in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they like defeated Hydra or something. I don't know.
Sure.
It's complicated. I did watch a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., honestly.
Well, the other thing before we go too deeply into WandaVision stuff is that I don't think it's a coincidence that the first official Marvel game, the Avengers game, had MODOK as the main bad guy.
Yeah, I don't.
MODOK is a creation of AIM.
And
it would kind of make sense to dovetail all that together.
I think he'll be one of the things we'll see. Because it's just to me, it feels like AIM is going to be a big thing. I think there's going to be a big central bad guy again. I've heard rumors that we've all heard the rumors Norman Osborn or Doctor Doom. I think that'll be a thing.
Those would be fucking insane.
Yes.
I'll tell you something.
Yes. It's just I think there's gonna be multiple things we see. It's not just gonna be one Thanos that takes 12 years to get to. It's going to be here are a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Well, and
I think those are gonna seed another not phase but saga or whatever they're gonna
maybe 3 movies, a trilogy.
How much of this do you think is affected or going to or I don't know, how much of this ties into Kang, do you think? Anything at all?
A little bit, maybe.
No, I think he's the long game. That's my
he's
with Kang.
I think he's going to be the next Avengers team up movie. Is that'll be his thing.
I'm still not sure how much they're going to use Kang. I'd love if they would, but I really think introducing if they are, let's give that caveat, if they're introducing AIM, I think they're doing that because of the inevitable introduction of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And with that being said, that would mean Doom would seem to be the big baddie, and then he would
Galactus.
Exactly. Using not Galactus being the big bad, but him using Galactus as a weapon, essentially.
In a better way than the original one. The Rise, whatever that movie is called.
What it wasn't just a fucking finger or a cloud.
He's a cloud.
He's literally a cloud.
God, that's
fucking
upsetting.
You know what's even funnier is they show his shadow and then it's just a cloud. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all in all, WandaVision has been nothing but impressing me. I was going into it kind of well, I never really cared about all these Nick at Night shows, all the black and white sitcoms, but it's actually funny. It's actually done really, really well.
And I think it's funny because it's not funny at all. Because I think with the absence of the studio audience, the jokes, they say them because there's no laugh track. You're
there is.
Is there? I thought there wasn't one.
There is.
I'm trying to think about stuff I think I'm thinking about stuff they said here, and you're oh, the horror. Because it's so on the nose, 50s comedy, you're that's funny because it's terrible. It's funny because that joke would not fly at all because it's bad.
Yeah. In those first 2 episodes, I would say none of the jokes made me laugh. There are some jokes in the 3rd episode where I'm okay, that's legitimately funny. Outside of the
Drunk Vision is the best.
I love Paul Bettany plays the perfect dorky guy. I don't. He is so good at it. I think that's just him. I think he just showed up on set. They didn't even give him a script. He's just walking around talking like that.
Damn near fell over when he's looking at the window and then jumps under his covers.
Yes.
Do you want to move on to this Deadpool thing real fast?
Yeah.
I just real quick before we do that, I just wanted to say if WandaVision is any indication of the quality of the shows that are coming to Disney Plus, I am so goddamn happy.
Me too.
I am so goddamn happy.
Yeah, this makes me more excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier because I was that show. I have a feeling I knew what I was getting, but then once I hear oh yeah, we're not gonna have Falcon and Bucky be friends at first, I'm that makes perfect sense, and now I kind of want to watch it more because they didn't like each other. They were very annoyed by one another.
Yep.
I really want just the whole episode of them in the car. Just be like, can you move over?
I would actually like to just cut like 5 years ago, and it's just them in that fucking little bug, and they're just like,
Yes.
can you move your seat? No, and then like they just linger on that moment for 20 minutes. There's that one trailer where they're walking around like Bucky is just stoic, and Falcon's like, "What's going on in that cyborg brain of yours? Oh no, the gears are spinning. Oh no, they're on fire!" Like,
So yeah,
I'm like, I can't wait for this. I'm like Falcon
Mm.
needling him the entire time, and Bucky being like, "Fucking leave me alone."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I
Yeah, they made a buddy cop show, and I'm fucking into it.
If WandaVision's gonna play on the idea of like old sitcoms, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier is like a buddy cop movie that also deals in espionage, yes, give it to me.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that the more this is not related to the shows, but it's more like Marvel's future slate. The more I look at trailers for Black Widow, I keep thinking to myself, I'm like, this is what I wanted from a G.I. Joe movie, and I can't believe it's coming from a Black Widow movie.
Come on, you don't. Okay, the only thing I want from a G.I. Joe movie is Brendan Fraser walking around asking people if they're Joes. That's all I want. It's the best part of that movie is Brendan Fraser. He's on an ATV. He walks over. He goes, "Are they Joes?" It's so good.
God damn.
But like I watched a trailer again, and I was like, this is like, I'm like, I see like what is evocative of like Storm Shadow and like other ridiculous G.I. Joe characters, because
they're all action figures. It's great.
Yes, it is, and like they're doing insane shit. Like, and I think a few years ago, I would be like, yeah, I want to see a Black Widow movie. But the more I look at this, I'm like, man, this looks really fucking good. Like, it looks like a new Winter Soldier, and I can't wait. But anyway, Deadpool apparently is coming to the MCU proper, and that is interesting because
Mm-hmm.
And it will be rated R.
They're saying, yeah, rated R. I'm like, okay, there's a lot to play with there. But I don't know. I've been burned before.
Listen, I know some of you aren't really high on those movies. I really like those movies, so I'm excited.
I think the first movie is really fun. I think the first movie is an excellent romance movie. I think those two have really good fucking chemistry, which is why I was pissed when they killed her in the beginning of the second one.
She comes back.
She does. But I also think like the second one is really interesting because I think it was Eric who said like, how do you give a character who can't die an existential crisis?
Yeah.
You remove the thing that he can't live without. So like, it's just of that montage of him just trying to die and he can't. And then like face it, like, and then finally getting a chance to do so for someone else, and everyone's like, no, this is ridiculous, stop it. I think it's interesting, and I think okay, first of all, the Juggernaut surprise, like the fucking linchpin in that movie, I was like, this is fantastic.
Fucking song. It's the Juggernaut, he's gonna kill you. So good.
Also, just looking at a villain, picking up a hero and going, I'm gonna fucking tear you in half. And then
he does it.
And then he just does.
It was such a.
You know that's Ryan Reynolds doing that voice, right?
Yes. And that's
amazing.
I think that's what got away with it being so secretive, because there was no casting for it. Like, it was just Reynolds beating his own ass. But with Deadpool coming in, like, that's interesting. I just hope they play with it right, and they're not like. I hope they don't Netflix this. Like, it's in the MCU, but it's not.
I don't. With Ryan Reynolds, I don't think he'll let that happen. I think he really wants to join in and be like, "Hey, I'm here."
Well, and I think I'm sorry, Ellen. I know you wanted to say something. I wanted to.
You go ahead. Yeah.
I think this is kind of their soft way of being like, yeah, the mutants are coming, because there's no way you can get around Deadpool and not have the X-Men involved in one way or another. Like, it doesn't work in a vacuum.
Well, especially when we
I mean, jumping off that point, Deadpool is the only character you can have.
Arlen died. Oh no.
No, I thought I was talking over somebody. I wasn't sure.
No, I was letting you go. Go ahead.
Deadpool's the only character you can have look to the camera and say, this is how it works. This is how it's gonna work, and nobody's gonna be like, well, that was weird. You're also expecting it with Deadpool, so he can literally explain to the audience what's going to happen and be like, mutants are gonna be here. Don't don't sweat the details. Just movies. It's a movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Also
just
because he interacted so explicitly with X-Men characters, like can't get around it.
yeah.
yeah.
I-
Well, I think he could very easily be like, well, it's a good thing the X-Men aren't here, and then just look at the camera for like 20 seconds, and then go back to the rest of the movie. Like,
Okay, actually, it has to be longer. He has to stare, like, he has to zoom in on his face really slowly, and like in the background, I don't know, play like I don't fucking know, the 90s.
Fortunate Son. Always Fortunate Son is the song you always pick.
Really, really, really quietly, like as if it's in like a passing car or something, and like, it's just like the camera is like, yeah, the X-Men. If the X-Men were here, stop. Or he just hums it. That would be even better.
yeah,
I really, he's a good character to have in the MCU because it's like I think he's the one person who like people seem like, oh yeah, there's good things will come out of this. Like,
yep, yeah, that and like I need him and Tom Holland.
Yes,
because like
yeah.
If you pulled me aside and said 10 years and said like, dude, Deadpool and Spider-Man is a comic to fucking read for some of the best Marvel comedy ever, I'd be like, I don't believe you. And then like people show me like out of context panels of like them two walking out of a movie theater and what is very clearly a parody of BVS behind them, and Deadpool going like, that was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like,
yes,
I don't want to kill
like
cancer. I want to make dinosaurs.
You could also have a moment where he's like, "So you're gonna be in Venom 2, Spidey?" No, I'm not doing that. And it's just Tom Holland in his natural voice speaking with British accent. Like,
what is that comic where like I don't know what they're doing? Are they doing pro wrestling where like Deadpool enters somewhere and he's carrying Peter in like a figure skating position, but like Peter's in his boxer shorts or something?
I don't know. I'll be honest.
I'll have to find it and show it. Like, and just
I'm
like,
sure
The last Deadpool stuff I read was Deadpool and Cable, which is fantastic.
Also the Deadpool comic where he travels back in time and steals Peter Parker's life.
I think I have read this one.
Because he appears to be Peter Parker to everybody, and he is just dunking on the 60s versions of everybody. Like at some point, Norman Osborn walks up and he's like, of all the things I've seen, all the things I've done, my God, that hair is the most unnatural thing I've ever seen. What is it even made of? What's happening on top of your head? And why are you talking like that? Did you have a stroke?
It's so good. Yeah, I like Deadpool. I'm happy to see that he'll be continuing.
I know people are annoyed by him, but like there's no reason to just excise him.
Okay, but the sequences, like Arlen said the other night, like the sequences where he's killing people to Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think Marvel has calmed down a little bit on Deadpool. So I think he'll be a lot more palatable because I mean that was one of my big things because like I've always been and continue to read the comics, like not Deadpool comics but just comics in general. The comics says the 90,000-year-old man, but when those movies came out, like Deadpool was at his like peak of popularity, and I couldn't deal with it because then it just reinforced those terrible cosplayers and everyone else to be like, oh, chimichangas. Like,
a lot of that is like I can't remember the name of the fucking writer, but like there was a whole period of Deadpool where he was
Daniel Way,
where he was like unbearable.
Yeah, he was the worst. He was just a meme machine, and that's all he was.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think him being in the mainstream MCU is a great thing for them because, man, that's a moneymaker for Marvel.
They got that handsome fella Ryan Reynolds now.
Exactly.
I don't think there's a reason to be worried, I'll say. Because I went into both Deadpool movies not expecting to like either of them. Like, I was like, okay, well, Deadpool 2's got to be awful, right? There's no way that they can do that again. There's no way they can surprise me again. And again, Deadpool killing people to Dolly Parton singing 9 to 5, like
it's so good.
Like so yeah, like I don't expect them to screw it up, basically. They're gonna do something fun, and I'm probably gonna be impressed by some aspect of it because I'd never expected the first one to have as much pathos as it does for a movie.
That's
about
what Chris
Deadpool.
Evans is coming back from.
Well,
Oh
and
God.
just thinking about it, like Cable, I'm guessing will also be carrying over to the MCU at some point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which would be weird.
Well,
That's gonna be real
Cable's-
strange.
Cable's big enemy is a huge part of X-Men lore, and I
Right.
could see them starting to plant the seeds of Apocalypse
Well,
in the next Deadpool movie.
I think they're going to stay away from Apocalypse for a while.
I kind of want them to start doing Mr. Sinister because he's the one of the ones they haven't done yet.
Man, they were committed. They were committed to trying, though. It seems
They were
making you think that they were trying.
Okay, that's a better way of saying it.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think Mr. Sinister translates well to screen because I'm an evil scientist with a cool cape.
I
Like
know.
that's kind of his thing.
Congratulations.
I have a metal beard.
Congratulations, you are half of all MCU villains that we've seen up
Exactly.
until this point.
Exactly.
You're also half of MCU characters at this point.
And I think outside of Magneto obviously being a big villain in whenever they introduce the X-Men, I think Apocalypse would make the most sense to be like the big overarching X-Men.
He's the
villain.
guy. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that is what you would call in that universe an Avengers the threat. Like that's a global threat.
Exactly.
it'd be interesting to see if like
and-
they take care of him. Will the Avengers join them, or will it be like?
Oh, that's a given. And
I mean,
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for everything MCU. Like I don't even care if it's bad at this point. If it's happening, I just like it.
I mean, yeah, we've all said something like that. Like, even if it's bad, we got the MCU that we needed. Like,
I had 11 years of good MCU movies. I don't care.
There was a weird wave of cynicism that popped up like after Endgame kind of settled. People were like, "Yeah, I'm done with this, and I don't think it'll ever be good." Blah blah blah. And I just don't need it. It's like, what reason do you have to suddenly back off of this? As if it's like as if the straw has broken the camel's back. Like you just got 20 fucking movies. Not a single one of them I would consider bad.
And they stuck the landing.
And then they stuck the landing in what should be an impossible task. Like, I'm sorry, what makes you think they're suddenly gonna fuck up?
That's why I kind of respect Cosmonaut Marcus's opinion on it, where he's like, "I'm just done. Like, I don't need it anymore." And I'm like, I can respect that.
And his thing was, he said they stuck the landing for Endgame so fucking well. He's like, my thing is like, they'll never reach this height again. Which is something I agree with, but it's not going to stop me from watching the movie.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. I'll consume it all now. I don't care.
Yeah, and that's
if anything, you've now ensured that I will never stop watching these fucking movies.
pretty much. I mean, until they do something so egregious that I'm just like,
That's the thing. Like, because this is the thing. I've said like, streaks end. Like everything that's like streaks end. Like nothing stays hot forever. Like there will be a time and place when the MCU finally like just throws too many punches and just takes one on the fucking chin. But it is nowhere soon. And
but I won't care though. Yeah.
That also goes to superhero genre. Like all these people who are like, well, this is dead and dried up and blah blah blah. Like they're saying that now with Wonder Woman. Like that's it. They killed the superhero genre. I'm like, nothing is going to kill this genre for a long time. It's not westerns. It's not fucking disco movies. It's something else entirely. And every time someone makes one, even when it's bad, it makes money.
It's essentially they're genre movies now.
Yes.
They're like if that'd be like saying if like someone saw The Shining and then they were like, yeah, they're never gonna make one as good as this.
Horror movies are done.
Yeah.
Like Venom. Venom is dumb.
It's so stupid.
Dumb.
But I watch it every time it's on. I can't.
At every chance I get because it's stupid as fuck and it made a lot of fucking money.
It's so dumb.
I don't know. That argument though, I can't grok with what MCU is doing because you still see a coherence to everything they're trying to do, and they have a through line with everything. And seeing what they're doing with the Disney Plus show, exactly, not shows because we don't know about the rest yet, but they're expanding their palette, for lack of a better term, and that gives me hope that the stuff after Black Widow and Eternals is going to be stuff that we are not expecting at all. Because I think there's enough smart people who are working on all these movies on all levels who realize, all right, we got that done with the all the way to Endgame. Let's do something completely different with our next group of 20 movies or so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's my logic.
And I just circling back kind of to the beginning of this. One of the things I was worried about when Legion ended was that we would never get something that interesting or weird ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wrong already. I'm very, very wrong already.
I didn't think we would get something that interesting out of like mainline MCU stuff, because like Legion, even now that like Disney owns Fox and everything, Legion is an outlier. Like it is a weird anomaly on the outskirts of this fucking. What the fuck?
Jesus Christ!
I just got off of work and I opened Discord, and like I just saw you guys recording, so I was like, I'm gonna hop in for a little bit, see what happens.
Okay, well,
I cannot wait to tell Joe and Sean about this.
Late minute addition. This is new.
You just missed out on our long ass MCU discussion, Leonardo.
Save the best for last. I'm here, everybody.
Everybody. Have we tried to have you on here once and your mic didn't work, right?
Yeah, I had like some weird shitty headphones. I have my regular Bluetooth headphones, so I guess that kind of works for now.
Well, and it's nice to hear you recording from the interstate. So.
Yeah. For those who don't know what's going on, this is Leonardo, who is an avid listener of Phantom Zone and one of the fucking patrons from Movie Dumpster, who shocked the shit out of me when I saw his name pop up in the podcast chat.
Fucking thank me, all right? I make your show float, all right? If it weren't for me, Movie Dumpster would be fucking thrown away.
They'd be destitute.
I'm texting them both right now. Holy shit.
But
I'll probably be here for like 5 minutes because I'm probably gonna get in my Uber soon and I don't want to be.
Okay. Yeah. I have no idea what to do now.
Yeah, I don't even know where we were. Yeah.
Said something about Legion.
Right. Oh, hey, Hunter! Fucking Moon Knight sucks.
Oh, god damn it!
Well, no, Leonardo, since you're only here for a limited amount of time, what are your feelings on Deadpool becoming a part of the MCU?
Cool, I guess. I mean, like, I like Deadpool. I'm not gonna hate him now, but he's become a little too Looney Tunes for me. So like, it'll be cool to see him, but I mean, at the same time, like, I'm not that hyped. I enjoyed the movies, but I mean, that's about it.
I'm in the same boat. Maybe you should ask some of the passerbys what they think too. No, I'm kind of in the same boat, but I also think he's a great segue into.
Eric wants to know what you think about Deadpool.
I walked away for like 10 minutes.
In the MCU.
I walked away for like 10 seconds, and Leo's here. What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, we replaced you. Yeah.
No, it's.
So you didn't hear me the first time?
No, I had to walk away for a sec.
Fucking Moon Knight sucks, bro.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking go over there. I'll drive. It is 1 a.m. I will come down there.
I just had this big stupid grin on my face for the past like 2 minutes. Of all things that happened at the end of the Phantom Zone show, between Eric horrifying us with like Sonic erotic fan fiction or anything else, like this was on the bottom of the list of things I've ever expected to happen because no one has done this yet.
I don't know why. I just opened Discord and it was there.
No one has been like, "Hey, recording. I'll just join the show."
Why not?
You followed your muse. Yeah.
There we go.
No, but with the whole Deadpool coming into the MCU, I was just pointing out that it's a real easy way to transition into X-Men, or at least hint very heavily at when the X-Men are coming, because they haven't given an actual definitive date on when this Deadpool movie is going to be coming out.
2023, maybe. That's what I would assume. If things kind of start going back to normal-ish this year.
Yeah. So in 2077, when we're all in the cyberpunk future.
In the year 2525.
Oh, well, it's cool because by that time you'll all be dead, and I'll still be able to dance on your graves. So,
And you'll be pulling your children from a long black tube.
oh, I'm children. Which
That's gross.
I can't remember any of the lyrics from that song outside of those like few words.
Jesus Christ!
I don't even know.
What was it? Won't you know daughter? Won't you know son? Or something like that. I don't even know.
All right. Do we want to try and continue on like things are normal and move on to any of the extras?
Sure.
I mean,
I'm here to talk about Star Wars. All right, I hate the Last Jedi slander. All right.
Thank you.
Every freaking week I come and I hear, well, not every week, but whenever you guys talk about a lot of Star Wars, you're like, fucking Star Wars fucking sucks. I don't like it anymore. No.
I didn't.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
First of all,
Star Wars has been great.
I don't like
since
Star Wars. I just think it's funny to shit talk it.
You're also talking about 4 people who are like, what the fuck is your problem with The Last Jedi? Like, why are you people so angry about it?
Yeah, and then I just shit on it because it's fun, because it makes me feel like you mad.
Right. Yeah, same reason you should on Moon Knight.
Well, you know, it's
yeah.
It's because it was such a good idea to have Rey bury those lightsabers on the planet. That...
All right. Look, I've seen Rise of Skywalker one time in theaters.
My name is
Rey.
Ray.
Enjoy it. That's I'll leave it. All right.
Are you Ray Skywalker, Leo? Do you like Ray Skywalker? Do you like Ray Star Wars?
I am Ray. I am Ray Pod Racer.
Ray Pod Racer.
The planet that
it's
Luke...
Pod Racer.
Yeah, exactly. Reycer. The planet that Luke couldn't wait to get away from, and Leia's only interaction was with a giant space slug on it. So, yep, that's a great choice to bury those lightsabers.
Also, who the fuck?
Actually, if you read the books, Eric, if you read the books, Leia went to Tatooine all the time. All right, that was like a second.
Oh, well, I can't read, Leo.
I just want to hold you underwater in like a bird fountain for a couple seconds.
I gotta go.
I want to strike.
I gotta go. All right.
I was raised in the woods of New Hampshire. You think I can read?
Hopefully, I could do like a full episode sometime. I don't know. I might do the Days of Future Past tomorrow with the other guys. So
yeah,
well, I don't know. Catch me on there.
Here's the thing: after you invade the show, are you leaving us with any choice? Like now we have to have you on.
Yeah, damn.
Although,
follow me on Instagram at young_Kami, all right?
You motherfucker. I'm telling you, I'm coming down there.
Can't breathe. Holy shit!
It'll only take me 3 long strides.
I'll DM you my address, Hunter. All right, I gotta go. Bye.
All right, cool.
Bye. What the fuck?
I mean, I don't see how we continue at this point.
No, I think we need to go.
Honestly,
I literally walked in the other room to wash my hands, and I come back and fucking feel it.
Let me tell you, I fucking love the audacity of this man. Every time he decides to just like show a different side of himself. Like I don't know very well outside like him being listen to the show, but the fact that he was like, "Oh, they're recording. I'll just join the podcast."
God, I respect that, honestly.
Such a fucking call. I love it.
So good.
Holy shit.
All right. Well,
yeah, I don't think there's any place we can go from there.
I mean, okay, so we're going to talk about some stuff with like Game of Thrones and Tessa Thompson, Dungeons and Dragons TV show. Honestly, that shit can wait because I now have a headache from the sudden intrusion of Leonardo.
Yeah, I think we can leave it at good for Tessa Thompson. I'm happy for her. That's all.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, Connor, do you want to start with the sign off?
Yeah. So we what about that was one of the patrons for the other show I do, where he gets his own fucking personal shout out at the end of every fucking goddamn it, Leonardo. Yeah, we've got some we're doing some special Black History Month. We have we're watching Pity Wheat Straw, Coffee, and Blackula. we have those coming out. We have some Patreon content coming out. We are doing a commentary for a remake of a very popular slasher movie. We just did a recording for Patreon for the second episode of Book to the Movie, where we got CB Smith on to talk about Razorback. And let me tell you something. The movie is better than the book, and I had not read the book, but listened to CB Smith talk about it. It sounds like an arduous fucking chore, and I would never pick that book up after hearing him talk about it, because it's essentially like the movie is about a killer razorback boar in the Australian wildback, and the movie is about corporate espionage and diamond smuggling, and every now and then a killer boar shows up to kill some people, and also some chapters are told from the perspective of a small baby kangaroo. It sounds really silly, and it sounds like a really bad time.
That's exhausting.
But dude, it's hearing him talking about that book gave me whiplash. I was like, hold on, what do you mean we're in China? Why are we in China? Now we're in New York? I thought this was about a killer boar in Australia. Yeah, it's wild, but that's coming out soon. And beyond that, I don't know what else we have in the wings. I think we're trying to get all that content ready for February, so stick around for that.
Yeah. I've had a little bit more time to process things than Connor just did. Lost Hour podcast. There was going to be a new Bond, but for reasons that Connor is aware of, that's not happening. So there's going to be a recently watched late tomorrow, as of the time we're recording this, maybe Monday. So look for that. Yeah, that's my plug.
You can find me wherever Leonardo's at, kicking his ass. It'll only take me about 4 long strides. Once he sees me cresting over the horizon, my enemies will flee there. That's it.
Wearing your PS5 on your back?
Yes. Like a backpack.
Yeah, he'll be carrying it like Baby Yoda in Empire. Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Or like